Hi, I'm Kim Krause from the Schreiber Media Center, and today I'll be talking with Mayor Kevin Mullins. Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Thanks for taking the time out and talk to us. Most people know you as Moonie. Can I call you Moonie?
Sure.
Mayor Moonie. I like that. How it sounds. So tell us a bit about yourself, where you were born, some of your family memories.
I was born and raised in Schreiber. I just did a quick stint out in Kamloops when I was 16, 17 years old for 6 months. But other than that, no, I've lived here my whole life. I'm, I guess what you call a true Schreiber, right? And no, I have very fond memories of growing up in Schreiber. Schreiber's always been a great little town, and being friendly, and population's gone up and down, and it don't matter what the population is, you're always going to see a friendly smile in this town.
Yeah, it seems like it's always been like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
What was life like growing up in Schreiber for you?
Oh, it actually totally different. There's so many different ways that kids nowadays go about things with the technology and everything. I'm not saying anything bad about it either, but we were outside and with our bikes and playing, being active and everything like that. And it's not to say kids aren't doing that nowadays either, but it was just totally different.
At Schreiber, being a small town, you always felt safe. Everybody knew where everybody was. I mean, I can remember many times your mother calling you guys in for supper. That kind of thing. You just have those funny little memories that you can always remember of things that were.
Oh yeah, if she called you in for supper, you always came. You had about an hour to play after school, and then you come home for supper, and your dad watched the news. You remember that, and you did your homework, and if you were allowed to go outside, because it was a weeknight, and school was the next day, of course. We had the siren. The siren went off at 9 o'clock, and that's time to be home.
That was like a curfew thing. It was to tell the kids to go home, or was it a safety thing? I can't remember why they used to do that. What the reason was.
I guess it was just a curfew or whatever. It's
get the kids home.
Yeah, it was. I remember that for sure.
And then, of course, on weekends, sneaking out in the middle of the night.
No, not me.
What did you do as a career, and what were some of the memorable moments in the job you did?
Actually, I started working for the town in 1977, and it's been a great career, really. I worked, like I said, with public works, and the water and sewer. The water was just going in when I started, and the sewer had just been putting in 74, and yeah, it was right off the set go. It was busy, and seen a lot during our career. The new arena, quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'll say it. Unfortunately, the old town hall was torn down, and that's a lot of people didn't like to see that. But I mean, it's what's done's done, and we get on with life. And
there must have been something funny that happened that sticks out, and you're going, only in a job like this would this kind of thing happen, like to get a response to a call or something, or helping somebody.
Oh, well, I can remember one time when we used to thaw water with the arc welder. And of course, you had to strap a cable over your shoulder and bring it down the basement or through a window or something in the house and clamp it on with vice grips onto the pipe and hope you thaw their water and don't burn their house down. And I remember this, I don't know how many people remember that last house that before you go down Lake Superior. His nickname was Sky King. Mm. And so I was going through his house, and he told me, watch out for the vat. And I couldn't understand him at first, and I thought he said, look out for the rat. And so it was just a little cubby hole in his basement kind of thing. And so I went down, and as soon as I got around the corner, and it was dark down there, and I seen some pair of green eyes looking at me from in the corner, and I didn't know what to think. And oh my God, he was trying to tell me, look out for the cat. And the cat lunged. He didn't lunge at me, but he lunged to get by me. And oh my God, I thought that was it. I thought that was it.
You never know what you can encounter.
Yeah, but oh yeah, lots of times what's different.
And I guess in those days too, the town would be a lot larger, so there'd be a lot more things that the crews would be working on probably as well. Or has that really changed too much?
Um, Definitely do it different way and everything now, but back in them days, like I say, they were starting to put the water in when I first started. I can remember the first few winters. You worked your 8 hours, and then you decided how much overtime you wanted to work because of the frozen pipes in this town. And I'm talking individual house services and water mains. And I mean, you could work 12 hours overtime if you wanted back in them days.
Yeah.
And nowadays you're lucky to get on an average winter you might get 4 or 5 frozen waters, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, most houses now would be insulated better, and I think people should realize too that the public works guys put in a lot of really hard effort in this town to keep things going. There's only a few of them. And if there's a snowstorm, they're the first ones up in the morning. So if someone's complaining about the roads being plowed, they've got to remember that these guys are getting up early. They've got to get their vehicles out. They've got to get to the garage. They've got to start up the equipment. Then they only start working. And then they're long days as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And actually, I was reading an article before I came here. They still haven't dug out and did streets down in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And when was that storm? 5 days ago? I mean...
well, even Thunder Bay, if you look there,
yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's 3 days later, but then they dig out of a storm.
Yeah, no, we got a skeleton crew of three guys for the most part, and we do that because we want to keep the taxes down, and for the most part, they run within the policy. They get their stuff done within the policy.
So, Moonie, what motivated you to get into politics? You were elected into council almost coming up on 4 years ago now. Huh?
Yeah,
that's your first time.
Yeah, this was my first time. We've had a run of episodes, or whatever you want to call it, on this council. You were there
for 1 year.
You were elected on the same council as me, and what got me into it? I just, like I say, I had 39 years in public works, and I just thought I could offer this and be of help to this town, and I wanted to run and try and make a difference, and well, here I am.
I think we could both agree it was quite a bit of a shock our first day in there and starting up, and what we really were going to be facing, because we had no idea. You go in your first time on council, you don't know what you're going in, what's going to happen.
No.
You walk in blind.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'll say with my experience with public works, 39 years, I thought I had a foothold on everybody else. And I mean, maybe I did in certain areas, but no, it was still a shocker for me because then you see the just things that you see when you're just a counselor and all that, and lots of good things, and but yeah, and you're only one. Like, the biggest thing is you're only one vote out of 5. And that's what you got to remember. You can go in there guns a-blazing that you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but if you haven't got all the rest of the council on your side, then it's not going to happen. And you work together and to make things work, and things get done that way. And
yeah, you have to work together because I mean, we all found when I had my first year in council, we could find that we all had differences of opinions, different ideas about how things could get done. but then you had to look and see what was best for serving, what would serve the community best, what best interest of the community, how you would do things as well.
Right, right. And there's stuff that I wanted to do the first day that is still not done, and I don't know if it will get done. But I mean, such is life, and it's actually going not too bad.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. A lot of work.
People don't realize
No.
sometimes they think it's very easy to complain about stuff. And the other funny thing you find as well, or from my experience, is you'll get a lot more complaints than you will compliments, because it seems if everything's going well, nobody says anything.
No, yeah, you're right. Well, I've had a few people say some good things, but like you say,
Yeah.
there's a lot of negativity out there, and you know what? It's in every town. You get 4 or 5% in every town, and that's the number they say, and it's usually the same ones and whatnot. But for the most part, everybody is great.
Yeah. So what was your first impression, first day on the job, sitting in the chair, about to be sworn in?
Well, I was pretty proud. But after the first meeting or whatever, and some of the rules and everything that you got to follow, and you really got to your P's and Q's, and there's just certain rules that you got to follow, and most of them good rules. Most of them good rules. Whether you agree with them or not, they're there for a reason, and you soon realize what they're there for.
And sometimes they're there to protect you as well.
Correct.
Because the being on council, you're responsible for a lot of things. And for instance, the first thing that they told us was if something were to happen with the water supply in town, that councillors and mayor individually can be held responsible, almost to the point that it becomes a criminal offense.
Oh, huge!
That scared a lot of us.
That's no, definitely, and I don't think it's there for a scare tactic. I think it's there for a reality check that
protect.
There's for sure, and there's a lot of responsibility there. We're lucky. We got Aqua. I believe we're lucky that we got Aqua taking care of our water, and there's the water pollution control plant, and our guys at Public Works take care of the distribution and everything, and for the most part, our water is pretty good.
So you became mayor in a rather strange circumstance. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Actually, I was appointed mayor last March 2nd after our former mayor Dave Hamilton's tragic truck accident, and I think of him often, and I'm sure everybody else does too. It's been a tough go. I sometimes think Dave's right there with me.
Looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, there's been some tough decisions, and I was very fortunate because I was Dave's deputy mayor, and he was teaching me the ropes and the right way to do things, and I listened to him, and I was appointed mayor. I always have to remember that. I wasn't voted in mayor, and
it's big shoes to fill.
Big shoes.
We've had some great mayors in the past, and looking back to them, their examples, you know.
Yeah, and like it's coming up on a year, and I can honestly say a day hasn't gone by, and I think I can say it for the office over there, and probably all the workers. A day hasn't gone by that we haven't thought of Dave, and it's just a sad situation.
But you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
Being thrown into it at the deep end, it's I can just imagine what goes through your mind when you get that phone call. It's like, by the way, you're going to be the mayor. You never signed up for that.
Like I say, the accident happened on February 13th, and I was appointed on March 2nd, I believe it was, and I was doing it, I wasn't doing it, I was doing it, I wasn't doing it. To be honest with you, I talked with Shirley and I talked with Marnie, and they were both behind me
That's good to have.
moving up, being appointed mayor, and you know what? That some of that was made me maybe put me over the top, and they still support me to this day. And
What are some of the highlights of the last 3 years? What would you say? Because you're coming up on our 4th year now. So what would, in the last 3 years, where I was just thinking, there's been so many things that have gone on in town, especially with COVID closing us down for almost half of the term that you guys have been in.
Well, when we first got in, the train museum was just starting, and that's very positive. As soon as people see it, I know some people have seen it more than others, but it's huge for a little town like Schreiber, and people are gonna love it.
There's been a lot of delays getting that project going, obviously, as well. But when do you feel it's going to be finally open?
I believe we'll do an opening somewhere around the middle of June and start of July for sure. And we'll have the grand opening probably in Heritage Days.
Good stuff, yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to it because a lot of time has been spent on developing that. Years. I think I'm not sure how far back, but I'm going to guess 10 years since they started talking about actually doing it. I mean, we had the museum in town, but then the idea to move everything up and create the Discovery Center, right, as it's called.
Yeah, it's been going. I'm going to take a guess at 20 years. Ray Jeanette is he's spent probably the last 30 years of his life figuring things out and whatnot, and he's done a fantastic job. And yeah, if it wasn't for him, I don't think you wouldn't see what's out on the highway right now.
There's another big project that happened during your time in council as well. What was that up on the hill there?
That was we inherited that one too, but it was the Bob Crouse water storage tank, and we did the grand opening on that, and it's been really good. I know there's some people that we've gotten, I believe it's 2 boil waters since the tank's been in, but you have to understand the way the tank works, and I don't expect people to understand it, so I'd probably be frustrated with it too. I call them saves, and that tank has saved Schreiber probably 5 or 6 times from a boil water. For instance, if the generator didn't start and you lost pressure in your lines and all that, we'd be under a boil water. And with the tank up in the hill, it's helped us. The aqua staff can actually shut the plant off, and you can be feeding the town for, well, it depends how much the draw is. You can be feeding the town for a day and a half, 2 days from the tank, and they can be doing maintenance on the plant down below, and they can start it up before that day and a half and start feeding water up to the tank again, and people in town wouldn't even know that they were feeding just off the tank.
Yeah. When it works, it's actually uninterrupted. You wouldn't really know.
Right, and the last one we had to shut it down, and we were under a boil water for 3 days, I believe it was, maybe 4 days. We had to change out some valves, and it just happened to be on the I call it the live side, the feed into town, and we had to shut everything down, and of course that puts you into a boil water. There's nothing you can do about it, but overall, no, that tank's working fantastic.
And again, it's all about safety of the residents. That's why you have those things in place.
Exactly.
So, any other projects, Moonie, that you think have added to the town?
Yeah. Actually, I think you were on council when we initiated the murals. The murals that got put up in the old town, or not in the old town office, in the town office in the old gym.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them that were put up there, and they're from the 125th, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's 2 or 3 up at the arena, and we wanted to get them up and inside out of the weather for the committee that did them, and we got that done, and it was done. I believe it was under $1,500,
And now those things are preserved that everybody can see them.
Right, and there's still one to go up. The big one. It's three of the original ones, but just one mural in itself, and we'll find a place for it. And then we started the other mural project where you have the 10 murals around town on the sides of buildings, and it's such a, I don't want to say a small project, because there was a lot of work put into it and everything like that. Like, just even from the town side of it, there was a lot of work put into it. But I can imagine the artists, what they put into it. I know talking to different artists that submitted and we got the pieces put up, and what they put into it, and I really think it's added to the town, and every one of the artists that put mural up, they should be proud of themselves, and I want to carry on for 3 more a year, and the rest of the council agrees with it. We want to just do 3 a year for a couple more years, and if the next council, I hope they would agree to. I think it just adds to the town, like we work in the middle and branching out, and we'll know when to stop.
It's a very unique project, and I think with the way it's evolving, it's going to become a big draw for people coming to the town. But I wanted to ask you, what was the motivation behind it? Like, who all of a sudden had this idea, let's stick murals up all over town? And was it for economic development reasons, or was it to promote artists, or was it all of those, or just to dress up the town? I mean, there's so many levels.
I think it was all of the above. I talked with Dom, our economic development person, and we're talking about murals on buildings too, like painted right on the buildings. Your silhouette that you put on for the Remembrance Day.
Oh, right, they want to do that.
There's a couple people that talked about doing this silhouette on the side of the dollar store, which would look great. But that's big money. That's huge money, and to get an artist, and if they have to work off scaffolding and everything, then there's rules there and whatnot. But I'm not saying it's something that we can't do, but if depends on the building and all that. If you don't have to go up too high, like, what the heck? But no, I think it was getting the artists from Schreiber, Terrace Bay, the North Shore, and getting them to get people downtown, to get people walking.
Mhm.
Like, we haven't even developed our pamphlet yet.
Well, it was only put in the fall.
Mural walk, or whatever we're calling it, and it's just to get people around town, and actually to get people showcasing their art. I think it's great.
Yeah, which is important too. I think recognizing culture in a small town, especially, we've got a lot of artists, musicians, and to see the town support something like that, I think it's gives people a really good feeling that is important enough to showcase.
Yeah, and I'm moving towards that way, where it's we don't need any big projects. We need a bunch of little projects. Like that project was under $10,000, and some of it was funded.
Yeah.
I just can't remember how much, but and it brought so much to the community. It brought so much to the artists. It proves to me that you don't need the $1 million, $2 million project. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. They're great too, but
It's also interesting with that project because all of the pieces have a QR code on them. So all of a sudden you're taking that art done by the artists and you're bringing them up to date with technology. So people virtually anywhere will be able to link to different paintings. You'll be able to use those QR codes, from what I understand that I've heard, to go on like a virtual art tour. You'll be able to go from A to B, find out about the artist, where things were done. And that's a great thing, using technology.
yeah, and it was, like I say, it was that you'd have to talk to Dom on that one, because when it comes to technology, I'm not the guy. But no, it was great. Like we had Cindy Ray Langford from Salmon Arm, British Columbia. She could hardly wait to submit an old Schreiber girl.
Yeah.
And she could hardly wait to submit a piece to be shown here in Schreiber, and it was great. It was great. The whole project was great.
So Moonie, what are some of your concerns going forward with maybe say difficulties in small towns? I know there's always problems with funding, trying to get money to finish future projects.
Yeah, we've been having some issues with some water and some the sewer, and they're bigger projects, and obviously then we need funding, and we've got some asks out there. Actually, we talked to Patty this past Monday, and we got Roma this Monday and Tuesday coming up, and we got meetings with 3 or 4 ministers, and one of them is the Minister of Infrastructure, and they're all aware of our issues with the sewer plant, and I think we got good news on the water issue. But it's the sewer, and we need funding for that. And like I say, everybody is well aware of it, and I do believe in the long run that we'll be getting. But what a lot of people got to understand is it's not too often you'll get 100% funding now. Your grants are you might get 50% federal, 30% provincial, and the municipality is stuck with 20%. So 20% of $2 million is still a hit. It's still a hit for a small town like Schreiber and all that. So even when you get funding, you got to limit the number of projects you do, because you soon get yourself in trouble if you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying we're in trouble or anything like that, but we've identified them issues, and we got to work on them. We're going to work on them, and we have to do them.
Yeah. Is NOMA a virtual conference this year, or will it be in attendance?
It's Roma. It's
Roma.
Roma. That's the one in Toronto.
Yeah.
The Rural Ontario Municipal Associations. Yes, it's virtual.
Yeah.
Me, Dan, and Nathan will be in it Monday and Tuesday, and I believe we got two meetings with ministers Monday, and I believe we got 2 on Tuesday.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So we mentioned funding, and I know a lot of the times you have to work with an economic development officer, which Schreiber now has one appointed to staff. But still, there's no guarantee that some projects don't run into snags. Can you tell us maybe about another project that is sitting in limbo right now or is possibly going to go ahead, or maybe one that's had to be abandoned because of financing? And I know there's the water park coming up for the kids. That's a project that was put on hold this year, but
Yeah, though, we had issues, like that's the town revitalization.
Mm.
And I can do just a quick, in a nutshell, what happened there was we have a certain amount of money to finish off our little project downtown, and it was going to involve the splash pad park, we'll call it, and it was going to involve a pavilion.
Mm.
And the way with COVID and the price of everything nowadays, there's no way we can do both. And our second choice was to do the pavilion, and there's no way we could even do the pavilion. So the third choice was the splash park, and it's getting done, and we couldn't be happier about it. The guys should be here hopefully in May, and hopefully we'll get it back up and running by July, and the kids can really enjoy it, and it'll be a draw downtown, and yeah, looking forward to that.
sounds like we're going to have a very busy summer in Schreiber this year. There's the Heritage Days coming up as well, eh? What number is that one?
Oh, 30, I believe.
It's
Yeah.
the third. Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's an
so
anniversary there as well.
Yeah, and there's a couple of reunions and all that. So the way the COVID is going and all that, I think hopefully we've peaked now, and we're going to start going down.
And stay down.
And stay down, and there's no other variants, and we'll get it. We'll get Heritage Days in, and we can get life back to normal, whatever normal is now, and enjoy it.
You mentioned COVID, and that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Almost half of this term has been under COVID restrictions. How has it been keeping council going, keeping the municipality going, yet having all of these restrictions imposed? Is obviously a huge learning curve as well. Is there anything that's come out of it that maybe is a positive thing, like something we may have learned from this?
Oh, there's a few things that we've learned from it, that's for sure. We got to have some more staff trained to do other jobs and things like that. We were scared a little bit, or at least I was, when we started back up again after Christmas, and we had a few illnesses, and I don't know if it was COVID or not, but
you don't take a chance.
But we're not taking a chance, and so, like, I mean, you're always worried you're going to lose your staff and all that. I can definitely tell you it was one of my fears when I took on the mayor's job, was to lose the knowledgeable staff that we have. I can't say enough about our CAO, Nathan. Like, he's new to the job. Don moved on to greener pastures down east, and Nathan stepped up. He interviewed well, and he got the job. He deserves the job, and he's doing a fantastic job. The other people in the office, they're very knowledgeable, and that was one of my fears, is losing them to, not losing them, but
them getting sick
them
and not
getting,
being able to do their functions.
Yeah, no, it's been hard, and every announcement seems to come at 4:30 on a Friday.
Yeah,
you know, and
there goes your weekend.
and but I think we're hopefully we see the light now, and we can start opening things back up on the 31st, and at the end of this month, and the way you hear all the health experts talk and whatnot, that it could be the end, and I sure am hoping so, because yeah, it wasn't just didn't seem fair that here it was a few of our first terms on council and everything, and then me getting appointed to mayor, and
Everything happens at once.
and we're dealing with COVID on top of everything else. But you know what? That's the cards you're dealt, and you do it the best you can. And I can't say enough about my team. So,
Speaking of the staff at the municipality, we had Rona Godden in a while ago for an interview, and she remembers a time when there was her and Aurel Gauthier were the only two employees in the office somewhere, and they were typing up invoices and everything by hand. All the water bills had to be done by hand. There was no computers of any kind. So it's
yeah, well,
it's a lot different now.
well, I started in them days. The computer came on as I was working here. Yeah, we laughed about it, and we thought, oh yeah, it's going to save a lot of money. Yeah, right. Look at the paper. It's going, but anyway, it's proved us wrong, or me.
So Moonie, what do you think about the future of Schreiber? And what areas of growth could we be looking at to try and attract more people here or more investment in the area?
How are we going to attract people to live in Schreiber is we need industry, and we keep hearing about the mine up north at Zedmac, and the mine at the North Shore and everything, but that's great, but like nobody's, and the way they do mining nowadays too, like first and foremost they'll look at a camp out there. And
so it won't add anything to the population of
well,
the town.
they're going to add some, and we got to try and be ready for it. And but even if they had a 180 man camp out that way, it's going to add to the economy. I mean, they got to eat, they got to do this, they got to do that.
Yeah.
They ain't going to hibernate out there 24/7.
That's for sure.
And things like that, like I say, tourism will add to the town, and Ontario's in a housing crisis, and it's not just Schreiber or Terrace Bay or Marathon, or it's Ontario is in a housing crisis right now, and
either with supply or cost of properties nowadays.
well, yeah, and we've been talking to the government. We have joint meetings with Terrace Bay on housing, and the McCausland Hospital is in on the meetings with us because they need. It's not that nobody's doing anything. It's how do you get from A to B, and afford to be like we've got quite a few lots around town, and we got that going for us for sure.
So Moonie, what do you think of the future of Schreiber? Let's say 5-10 years down the line, where are we going to be sitting, do you think? Just where would you like to see us?
I'd like to see us a little bigger, and when I say that, we don't have to be double or triple or anything, but I would like to see us bigger, and you might see that with people coming from the cities and down south and all that. Like, if we can get this area advertised and people move up there, like a lot of people work from home now on the computer and all that.
That's changing the whole dynamic with jobs, because you can almost be anywhere. So it's nice to be able to choose where you want to be as opposed to being forced to be somewhere because of work. Yeah.
Right, and we got we've been talking about lots down Lake Superior Road and everything like that, and if we can get that going, like the people don't even got to be living here year round. Like, I mean, you'd have the people like a tourist town kind of thing like that, and I want to see us little jobs like like I've said before, you don't need you don't need to be doing the $2-3 million project all the time. You can be doing the $10,000 project and getting just as much out of it. And I want to clean up the downtown area and the rest of the council does. I got a great, fantastic beautification committee. They want to keep going at a few things, and sometimes it's hard telling them no, that we can't do it this year. The funding is not there, and they get mad, and but we're gonna get there, and it's just gonna take us time. That's all.
We should actually mention volunteers in a small town like that. Like most of the committees in the town, there's quite a few of them. They're all volunteers helping out.
Oh, I mean, and you can't say enough about the volunteers in this town. Like when we first got on council, there seemed to be I mean, some of the volunteers were mad about certain things or whatever, but some other volunteers were burnt out, and you try and get a mixture of volunteers and everything like that, and you can't say enough about a volunteer. Like they put so much work and effort into whatever they do, and I don't care whether you're Schreiber or Rossport or Ottawa, or you look at the hockey organizations with the volunteers in there. Like volunteers are the heart of I mean, you got your employees, but you bring on the extras, the volunteers that they're
the lifeblood of the town.
Yeah, they are, and of any outfit, really.
So we talked about volunteers, but there are a lot of people around town who aren't necessarily connected to a committee. They just have this thing that they want to maybe do something for the town on their own. And half the time they're not looking for recognition. It's just something they feel they should do.
Yeah, Kim is Mutson. He came to me about 2 years, not that I have anything to do with it, but he says, Moonie, he says, I'm going to do a few things. And when I'm done, he says, Schreiber is going to be known as the snowshoe art capital of Canada. And I kind of looked at him and I was, what is this guy talking about, you know? And my God, he does beautiful work. And you look at how many people he's touched, just the municipalities around here.
Yeah.
Like he goes down the terrace, up the Long Lac. I don't even think his wife knows where he's been half the time. But, and then he doesn't stop there.
No.
He's got blocks of ice going here and going there. And the next thing you know, there's like this year, he's got a boxing glove up downtown, and he calls it his sidewalk sculptures, a hammer in front of Severios. And he told me a couple more that are coming. Where does a guy find and that's great for the town. That's huge for the town.
And he's been getting huge recognition, like really around the world, for some of the stuff that he's been doing with the snowshoe art and his sculptures. Last year, I remember he had this sculpture at the cenotaph of the soldier. People were just amazed by it. You looked at it and the detail and the way he did it, literally with chainsaw and a hammer or whatever he uses, and he does this beautiful artwork. And I think the fact is he's also doing it just as a resident of something to do. It's not like you had to organize a committee, find funding, or any of that kind of stuff, but it adds so much to the town.
Really and I truly believe if it wasn't for COVID, he'd be over in some other country teaching it or something like that. I really truly believe that.
He's been invited to go over to somewhere in Europe. He told me recently. He's one of the Scandinavian countries or something. They saw one of his videos on YouTube, and they've actually invited him to go over there and do a lecture and a talk on how he uses how he does his snow sculptures. Not the sculptures, sorry.
Snowshoe art.
He's been asked to go to Europe to talk about how he creates his snowshoe patterns, his snowshoe art on the lakes and stuff like that. So Yeah, it's good for the town as well.
Oh, it's huge for the area. And you know what? He's there's guys that go out and help them create them and everything. They're learning, and it's great. It's great to get out there and they're staying in shape and whatnot.
He's even worked with some of the high school kids, I think, hasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
he's getting
so,
the
yeah.
students involved, which is nice.
Yeah.
One of the things that must be very difficult to create is trying to put together a budget for a small town where you've got limited resources. And as council and mayor, that responsibility falls on that team.
Yeah, and do you want to throw another mix in there? Let's throw COVID in there too, because you don't know whether you're going to be up and running or you're going to be down and let's throw impact in there. We're still working on the 2016 evaluation date, and we don't even know when they're going to. They have never given us we had them at a meeting not long ago, and they haven't given us a date when they're going to be coming back to assess anything, and obviously it's going to change quite a bit around. So yeah, there's a lot to going into making the budget for sure. I know this council meeting coming up, we have the library, we have the fire department, and we have economic development that we'll take a look at, and then I imagine the next meeting we might hopefully have the rest, and then we roll up our sleeves and make it, and
and hope there's no surprises in the end.
yeah, it's we're trying to keep it down. We're definitely trying to keep it down. Unfortunately, with the issues that we're having and the cost of living, like now, I mean, we're finding it as individuals and like just with the food and that, and to have to put the water and sewer up, but because of our issues like propane, like 37% it went up. Our insurance costs is through the roof. Like they're the things that you gotta try to find the money for and everything. We've had some issues with our equipment, with our newer equipment that we didn't think we'd have. And we do have a bit of reserves for that, but yeah, I believe it'll be a good budget. But yeah, no, we're working on it, and we'll get there.
One final question for you. Will you run again?
Will I run again?
And what do you think your legacy will be? What will people talk about?
Not sure about a legacy. I just want us to be what we are, and not being our friendly little Schreiber, and I want to clean up the town, and I want to fix up the infrastructure that we already have. We don't need to say go out and get, like we got the train museum. We're gonna love that for the next bunch of years, and the splash pad, I think they're great and everything, and could move on with some more murals and fix up downtown and fix up our like we're talking with the CAO, and we're getting some money from the government stack, and if we can stack it for the next, we're not sure if we can, but if we can stack it for the next 4 or 5 years, what would we do with that money? And one thought is sidewalks.
Yeah,
we have to fix up some of our infrastructure that we already have, and we don't have to invent the wheel. And that's one of my big things is let's take care of what we have already, and that's if I'm around, what I run. I believe so. We've had some challenges.
I'm sure people have been encouraging you to, possibly.
They had. I've had a few. I've gotten a few that have been mad at me too, and whatever. I mean, and I'm trying my best. I was, like we talked about earlier, I was appointed mayor. I always have to remember I was appointed mayor. I was not voted in as mayor, and to be voted in as mayor, I still, in my mind, I have to earn that. And going forward, I'm gonna try my best, and my heart is with this town. Always has been, always will be. Fortunately, I'm the only one left of my family, but my family's, my mother and father and my brother are buried over here in the cemetery here, and when that day comes, I will be too. And I have no reason to go any other place, and I'm going to keep plugging away and trying to make this the little town that it can be. And we're there now, because I love the town. Can't say enough about it.
I think anybody who chooses to live here, they gotta love it to live here.
Oh, definitely. And there's so much to do in all four seasons. And don't matter which way you look. That's our backyard. Wow. Lake Superior, the back north, the camps, and all the lakes and everything. You can't ask for anything more.
You've been doing a great job, Moonie, under difficult circumstances, and I'd like to thank you for spending some time with us today and our viewers, and getting to know you and about what's going to be happening in Schreiber going forward.
Yeah, well, I hope I enlightened some people and didn't babble for too long, and it's been really enjoyable.
Hey, you're a politician. They always babble. So thanks again, Moonie, for coming out and sharing your insight with everybody in the town. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone out there for watching. And be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, the Schreiber Media Center on YouTube. See you again.
Thank you.